All right, does look like we're live now. It doesn't seem like it's putting my face at the bottom like I was sharing it. So let me see if I can fix that. There we go. I guess that's a little better. Okay, I think everything's running as it should be, and we are back in this project, the ticketing system, and I think this is part 36, if I'm not mistaken. So I am streaming this from Zoom. So if you want to join in Zoom, there should be a link below. Now, I'm glad I said that because it's actually not there yet. So let me fix that. All right. There we go. Just taking care of some business here up front so we can focus on Power Apps. All right. Right. Good deal. All right, guys. Who is excited about extending a ticketing system? Now we haven't seen this ticketing system. I haven't had a live stream on this ticketing system. Well, actually, last Saturday, I did, or just a few days ago. However, we're really going to dig into this and add some features, fix some problems, modernize it. Because when we did this application, we didn't have app formulas. So, of course, we're going to have to fix that. Okay. I think we are all set up here. Okay, good deal. All right, I'm going to get out of run mode here within Power Apps. And having a hard time with my nice camera. So had to go with my trusty little webcam here instead. Okay, so what we've done last time, we have, if I go back here, we created a utility, and I'm going to edit this in a new tab and bring this up. Because what I want to start doing for these sample applications is having a Power Automate flow or flows that will create a SharePoint site and all the lists and the fields and everything. So that's going to take a few moments to come up. Yeah, hello. I see on YouTube Praveen and Solitronics. That's a cool name, Solitronics. I like it. Okay. So this was actually, we were using the Jumpstart Kit 2 to do this, but now that's some air trapping I have in there. That's there by design. And what this particular screen does is it goes out and it finds all of the SharePoint sites in the current tenant. And then I give the user an option. And when I say user, I'm talking about perhaps you, who you might want to install this file and you want it to create all of the SharePoint sites and lists and everything. So I'm going to go to a different screen and come back. It's taken a little bit longer than I think it should. Okay. So here we go. Now we could go to, pick an existing site, go with that, or we could create a brand new SharePoint site. Okay. And with all this information, it will create the SharePoint site. Now, if I said, I'm going to hit cancel and say, use the existing site, BBB, the one that we clicked right there. I click on continue. And so this screen created all of our SharePoint lists and everything that we needed. So I'm going to bring this up so you guys can see all of these things here. So these are all the tables. And we do have an ERD diagram. And let me bring that up. Let's go here. And we will go into the ticketing system here. And here's the ERD diagram. Look at that. All right, I'll share this link with you guys. Yeah, there is a playlist. For some reason, it's not going to allow me to, let's see here. This is the link. So Solitronic says, is there a playlist? There is. And it just has just a few videos so you guys can see if you like the course, if you want to move forward with it. So if you go to the playlist tab on the channel, you'll see it. And I do have quite a few playlists. I do that to sort of organize things and make it easier for you guys to find things. Okay. So we have all these SharePoint lists in here, and I do notice I have some errors here. Okay. So we could go through that and see what's going on with each of these things. And let's see here. Image does not exist. The column with the most similar name is ID. Okay, so there's a little bit of a discrepancy between the, say, it says request images here. Let's go find our request images. And that's probably because, yeah, that was not created. Now I want to create that as, actually it's right there, request images. I actually want to create this portion as a document library instead of saving it as a base64 string. So we'll be modifying that. All right, so I do plan on going for a while today. And I want to make a lot of progress. And as long as people are around watching, as long as you guys are still showing interest, I'll go as long as I can, or until my wife starts yelling at me. All right. And I was hoping I'd be able to fix some of these things here. Now we have a users table. Now, if I were to do this again, I would recommend not calling a list user or users, because there's a function called user, and I don't want anything close to, anything being confused between a keyword or something in Power Apps and tables that we create. So we're going to be, let's actually take a look at that table. And it almost looks like this table hasn't been, the fields have been created. So let's go over to list settings and we can verify. Boom, there's all these other fields there. So I think instead of photo, I wanted it to say photo base64 to be descriptive. So I think perhaps that's what the disconnect is. So as I was creating these lists, I'm like, well, I actually want to do this a little different. And okay, this is plural users. And I'm going to hover over this. Okay, yeah, photo does not exist. So I go find this photo and we'll do, I'm going to copy that field name and I'll replace that and we'll, also it's a good idea to create table names that are not contained in other table names or that are common. So uh, since we called it photo in the past, if I go over here and try to do a search and replace, I mean, it's going to find all kinds of things that have the word photo in there. But if I had called it Photobase 64, it would have been very easy to do a search and replace. See, there's like 48 of them. So, anyhow, I think the first place to start, and you guys could probably sense that I'm trying to get a feel for what I want to do first. There's just so much to do here. I'm trying to figure that out myself. Okay, so what I want to do is fix any errors that are currently in here. Now, I don't see any errors. If you look at the scroll bar will give you an indication if there's an error with the little red square. Yeah. Yeah. So Navi says, "Hi, I'm a Power Platform learner and developer. Your videos save me a lot of time. Thanks for your tutorials." Well, you're welcome. Thanks for letting me know that. That in a way that sort of makes it, you know, makes me feel good. It makes me want to create, um, more stuff for you guys. So thank you. All right. So I don't see any errors here, and I want to go into the settings. This almost looks like classic theming. Oh my goodness, it is. Okay. So we need to update the settings. So this would be a great place to start. So I'm calling this application, instead of calling it the ticketing system, I'm going to call it Track a Ticket 2.0. All right. Modern controls and themes. So this is right now. Currently it's under the new tab. I'm going to turn that on, and we probably need to turn on this new analysis engine. Feature enable experimental engine requires the feature collection access and component scope to be disabled. That's interesting. Um, collection access. All right, so I'm going to go up here and say collection access, and you see it's under the retired. I'm going to disable that. You don't want to rely on anything that they've moved over to the retired tab. Okay, so some of these things on the new tab, you almost might as well turn these things on because they're going to be there in the near future, right? Unless I'm just not going to use any particular feature. Comment generated formulas. Elevate your development process using comments. Simply start your comment with that to activate Copilot's formula suggestions. Okay, let's turn that on and see if it helps us out uh, helps us out at all or not. I'll turn that guy on. And a feature that is available that I get really excited about, create a formula option appears on the Copilot menu. Okay, I'm sort of curious how good that is. Um, and I want to stay focused. I don't want to go down too many rabbit trails here. But essentially, what I want to turn on is user-defined types and also user-defined functions. Love those two features. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click close. I'm going to hit save. And what I'm going to do is I need to close out properly. So I'll leave like this and I'll go back in. Track a ticket. Yeah, it's taking a while, isn't it? Gee whiz. It's taking a while. Okay. Okay. This is looking good, I guess. All right. What I like is now let's click on this other screen. Yeah, we still got some errors to deal with, and that's no big deal. I am so that's the start screen. You know, something I want to put in here right away is something in my app on air. Now, did you guys know that I have a GitHub repository out here and it's freely available under the MIT license? Um, and you can go into a folder like app on air and you go through here and let's see what we got. Okay. So I am going to select this all the way down, get all that code, right click on it and copy. Now, what does this code do? It's going to handle any and all errors that happen in the application. And you know, something else that would be really great, I haven't done this for any of my applications, which is to create uh, a SharePoint list or database table to keep track of all these errors. So let's do that. Okay, so I want to copy the name of that. Go over here to list settings, and I'm going to go to site contents. And Navi says, back in the day, I was struggling after submitting data and showing the same updated record, and the gallery data is saved, but the latest data needs to be refreshed, the whole app to reflect that data. How can we load updated data while navigating from submitted screen to record screen? Well, I've got a great answer for you, Navi, and I'll get to that here in just a few minutes, okay? And but that's a great question. So it's something that I do regularly. I've got a way of going about it that handles it. So I'm going to create a new list here, and there's the name of the SharePoint list. Okay. So this code that I just pasted over, what's up with this? Well, you want to put it in the app on air, like I just did. Now, if you click around here, you might see. Now, this is a sample, or this is an image of a sample email that it will send out. It's going to email you or put all this data into a list. In fact, the list that I just created will hold all this information. But here in the README, I've got instructions. Okay, so everything's well documented. In fact, most of the code is code comments. So I got you guys in mind when I do things, trying to make things as easy as possible. And I've got steps of implementing this. So you see all that? And I'll include that link for you guys here. Okay. All right. So we have a step one, the variable. This variable is called error handler email. And I created it as a global um, because I can't assume that anybody has anything in app formulas. So here's all the steps that are included here. So copy the code to app formulas. Okay. So I can copy that, go over to app formulas, and I paste it right there. All right. So what I'm going to do, you notice the user that is displayed here is Mary T. Smith, and that is because the app is in demo mode. So I'm going to go over to app on start, and I'm going to go search for demo. Yeah, that demo mode. I'm going to set that to false. Now, whenever you change something in app on start, what you got to do is right click and say run on start. And what you'll notice, okay, here's me. This is my email address in this particular tenant. And there's my email address. Okay. However, if you guys are watching this, like, oh, I'll email Darren. I really don't check this email address. If you want to get support or you need help with anything, support at superpowerlabs.co, not com, co. Co is short for company. We'll say get support at. In fact, I might just that at the top there. Okay, now that I've created this over in App Formulas, I can go back over to on air, and what you'll notice is that now we've got a problem here. Well, just comment it out, delete or comment out the use of set. Okay. Number two, the application name. What is the app name? Well, if we go over to app on start and scroll down here, it's Track a Ticket. Okay, so that's the string or the key. And I also need to update that guy as well. Okay. And hey, let's put in the current day as the version. So 11:30. Okay. So if we go back over to app on airs, where is step two? Step two is right here, application name. So what it's telling me step two is, well, you could just take this and put it over here. I'm going to go ahead and comment this out already because I know what I'm about to do. Formulas. There we go. Now, because we already have a global variable, say var app globals dot application name, we could tie into that very easily, just like that. Okay. So that is, yeah, step two there. Now the application URL. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the URL up in my address bar. And I'm going to go over and paste that right there. And I'm going to take this and copy it. I'm going to take this code sequence comment ender, drag that down here. And paste that. Now, I have something else on my clipboard. If I hit Windows V, I should be able to get this. So there's the URL that I want to have in there. There we go. Now, while I'm thinking about this, Navi, is if you look at whenever I patch, let me get a good example of this. And I think I do this on the last patch. Yeah. So save the existing record. So whenever you patch a record, the patch function will return the updated record. So that's what I was going to show you there. And I always use local variables. I try to stay away from globals as much as I can, unless there's a good reason for it. And that's how you make sure you always have the updated data there on the screen. And then everything on the screen is referencing that variable. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. All right, let's go back to app on air. And I think there are just 5 steps, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Let me go up here and I'm going to copy that. Now, I could have left everything as is. Could have. But we want to set things up properly. Okay, there's that light gray color. Okay, so there's that. Now I'm going to clean this up as I'm going along here. There we go. Okay, so step number 5. What do we have? This is a collection variable that will hold all the errors that have occurred in this session for the user. And that is the name of it right there. No changes are necessary for this collection variable unless you like to store these in a data source, which might prove advantageous. If you'd like to implement this, then create a database table, which I've already created, Power Apps errors. And then I want to create these 9 fields. All right, so I'm just going to copy that and paste it over here in Notepad++. There we go. Okay, so we already have a title. Almost everything will be a single line of text. So I'm going to select that. Okay, so the first thing is the message. There we go. Now, timestamp, I would probably create that as a date time. The screen, you probably just want to put the screen name in there. Okay. Okay. So we got message, save. The source, put that in there. Observed. HTTP response. The status code. Date and time for the timestamp. Let's include the time there. A friendly format. Friendly sounds great. And I'm going to hit save. Now, I almost don't like the fact that we just called it screen. I probably should have called it screen name, but it doesn't matter what application you do and how good you are. Um, you're your own worst critic. So if you go back and look at a project you worked on months or years ago, you might be like, why did I do it that way? I should have done it differently. Happens all the time. So there's the screen. Let's grab the user email. Okay. So we should have everything in here that we need. Now here inside the project, I'm going to go over to data and go bring in that table. We'll go search for SharePoint, tracking ticket, and type in error, Power Apps errors. And I like to make this generic just in case you have several applications that are using the same table. Um, and we could probably put in the application name as well. I thought that was in there. Anyway, I'm gonna pull that in right now. So it's there. And I'm gonna go over to the tree view, click on app. So we have all these things. So something I don't want to duplicate. I do have a table out here called screen use. So if you go look at that, this is a part of the Jumpstart kit. It keeps track of all kinds of things that are going on inside your application, such as, it keeps track of the application name, the app version. There's the info, screen name, session string, user email, when, also ID is important. And I'll throw in created, hit apply. We should see all kinds of data. So all this data of like the application, the version, it could be found there. And it'd be very easy to sort of cross-reference these. So I'll probably just leave it as is. And at the bottom of this whole code block, patch your data source with the contents of this collection. So if I hit Control End, that will take me to the very bottom here. And I'm going to take this out. Okay. Now, you might have this error because it hasn't been created yet. So let's go look at this app, call app errors. Okay. And what I want to do is I'm going to sort of initialize that collection. And I've got a great way of doing this. So if you go in an app on start, I guess I'll go to the end here. And what I'm going to do is do a clear collect. There's the name of the collection. And now that I have a database table, what I can do is a filter on this, and that with a semicolon. And let's filter the app Power Apps errors. I'm going to copy that. And what I do with the filter is I just give it the word false, which means it's not going to bring back any records at all. But that should initialize this guy for me. Now, looks like we have an error. Invalid argument type. Clear collect. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run it and let's see if it initializes this. Fine. And I also need to make sure that this thing isn't used improperly anywhere else. So that's the code we were just looking at. Okay. Yeah, that should work fine. And the on air is where this is. Okay. Looks like we have a few things to sort of figure out here. Okay. Okay. So we have a timestamp there. And in the database, it is a date time. So what I'm going to do is say date time value. Oh, I see why I did what I did, is that I grabbed the milliseconds there. I don't know that that's really all that important. Let's just do now. Keep it simple. Okay. Everything's looking good except that collection variable there. All right, I'm going to save. And I'm going to go over here to variables. There's collections. View the table. And it's blank. That really shouldn't be blank. Let's rerun that on start to see if we can get that thing initialized properly. Okay. Isn't it a little ironic that we have a collection in our project? The only one that's giving us an error is actually called app errors. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to back out of this project and come back in. Sometimes Power Apps just gets confused. Go. Now, if I go over here, paste in the name of my collection. Looks okay to me. Now, if we go to app on start, look at this. There's no errors in here. Isn't that nice? And if you open this up, okay, we didn't find any data. I was sort of wanting to see all the field names in there, but there's no errors. That's just a warning. If you do a filter with a false, it's going to give you a delegation warning, even though if you give it a false, it never returns anything. So I'm going to go into app on error here. And okay, we do have errors here. And sometimes I notice you should be able to patch a collection to a table just fine. However, sometimes it gets confused. Now, if we have this issue, what we could do is say for all. We could loop through a collection, say defaults. Let's see here. Loop through the errors, and we'll do a patch. And every record is going to be a new record. So we're going to use defaults there. And of course, the table name will be this guy. And let's comment out that guy. And let's go get a listing of all of our fields, which would be right there. And what I should be able to say is this record dot message. Oh, put in replace. There we go. Saves us some time. Sure, E is there. Now what I'll do is I'll copy this field name, paste it there. There's observed. Here is the response. There is the code. There is the timestamp. It's the screen. So we'll copy the name of that table and use that with defaults. Okay, I do need a comma there. And that should work fine. So this was sort of a shorthand way of doing this, doing all of these patches all at once. And then after we've put them all into the database table, then we clear them out. Okay. Any questions? Now, I have had people tell me that I have a clear. Well, let me get rid of that. This step has been completed, so I just want to simplify this a little bit. And we don't necessarily need this. That's over in GitHub. Okay. Here we go. It's this clear all errors. Now, if this function ever gives you a problem, we could do an if error. You know what I would do with this collection? if I couldn't do a clear like that, I would probably say remove if, and we'll just say true, which will delete everything. Wow, we've got some issues now. Probably because I don't have a semicolon there. Yeah. So it's complaining that it should be a collection. Well, the all errors is a collection that you can access here within the app on air. Now, I didn't have any issues with this, so maybe if somebody still has that issue with running that code, we could bring on whoever is having the issue and work through it. So I'm going to indent this over. Okay. I have no errors here. This should work great. Now, if you guys want to see what that does, I can add a button here. You see that it's using a blue theme. Let's go in here and say notify. I want to know what 1 divided by 0 is. I'll run it. An error occurred. And I think it was this guy that did it. So if I said notification type error, it should be in red or pink. Very good. All right, so what just happened there? So an error happened, and I should have received an email. And I'm going to bring up a tab here and go check my email within this tenant. And then here, if I do a refresh, I'm expecting to at least see 2 errors. And I don't see any errors. That's a little concerning. App on air. And I'll check my email, see if any emails came. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's go check our app formulas. There is my email address. And the line of code that actually sends the email is this one right here. So if I double click on it, you see that my email address is there down below. So that should have worked just fine. Now, if I double click on this collection, do we have anything in the collection? We didn't find any data. Okay. Right. So one thing I want to take care of is, we have a color palette here, and I want to sort of piggyback off of the modern themes. So any defaults that we use, it's going to use our color palette. So right now the color palette is over here in the app on start. And let me just type in theme. I should probably say var theme. It's been a long time since I've used var in my variable names, but okay. The themes are, well, here they all are. It takes up most of the space within app on start, and I always have it at the very top here. And I'm looking for this primary dark. I'm going to double click on that hexadecimal code. And if you guys would like it, I'm going to put it over here in the chat. So you guys have it. And I'm going to go over to the themes, and I'm going to create my own. Track a ticket theme. I'm going to double click that, paste that in there. Oh, that's a purple. Okay, that's not what we want. I'm going to go back over here. And over here in the, you notice I'm using Intuit Aqua. I'm going to copy that. And this is the hexadecimal that you want. All right. And I'm going to select this lock primary color. Save, track, ticket, theme. Okay, create. There we go. See that little button that we had brought over? It now does not clash with anything. Something else I'd like to do is put something over here, an app on air. And I'll say notify. Just copy what we have in the button. How about that? App on air. We'll put a semicolon at the end. Notify is an imperative function. But in this case, we don't want to actually cause error. We actually want to notify the user an error occurred. Error occurred. And let's let it last for 500 milliseconds or a half a second. Error occurred. The developer has been emailed. So that gives people peace of mind that they don't have to write something down or take screenshots, but we want to make sure that it's working properly. Now this code comment is bothering me a little bit. There we go. Okay, I'm going to run this. I'm going to hit that button. And error occurred. Now, because here underneath this button, we did a notify. Let's do something like set global air, and then we do something like that instead of doing a notify. Let's try that instead. Hit the button. Now I expected some stuff to pop up there. And I'm going to go check my email. Okay, that is an issue that I'm going to have to go back and revisit. I should probably enter a ticket for myself that there's a bug I need to fix. Okay. So here I'm going to say pause error. And let's make this a bit wider. Maybe 140, 120. Okay. And I only want this to appear if we're debugging. And we usually have a debug toggle there at the top. Full screen here, so you guys can see more of this. All right. If I go over into the app on start, what we'll notice the original developer. Let's go over to app formulas. Grab my email address. There we go. I'm going to rerun the OnStart. Okay. So now you notice we got this little toggle here. So if I hit the toggle, it shows things. You see what just happened. I'm going to move this down. Hit that toggle. Oh, look, there's a timer there. I had this button right on top of it. Okay. So what I want to do is I only want this to show up for a debug type of user. So I'm going to go into visible and I'm going to say show debugging. Okay. And if we turn that toggle off, there we go. Now, Track a Ticket version 2.0 looks a little much with that font. And what we have, if we go over to components, we have all of our components here that we can modify. Now, did I set this up so that I could pass through the font? I did not. You know what? Let's create it. Application name. Okay, so I'm going to say application name font. And notice that we do not have a type that says font. So we're just going to go with text. I'll click create. And whenever you create a property, you're going to have two sides of it here. So if I click on the name, we got that text. If we click on the right side, we get this thing again. So what I want to do is I don't want a string there. I want to say font dot something. Not like open sans. I'll set that up as the default. Now in this label here, let's go to font, and instead of that being assigned literally, we'll say comp app header dot application name font. And let's pull this back. Let's say like 32 maybe. There we go. That doesn't look bad. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, I've got my Jumpstart Kit version 1. This is actually the updated 1.5. And it's got a lot of great things in the app formulas because I had already moved everything from OnStart to formulas here in this project. And we've got quite a bit of good stuff built in here. And I think I might just want to copy and paste that over. Okay. I'm going to do a Control A, Control C. Now, I don't know that that necessarily helps you guys out. So maybe I shouldn't do that. Just copy and paste code in from another project. So let's actually step through this. Let's go to App on Start. And we're going to give this thing an overhaul. So I'm going to take out all this code comments. And 1 second, I got my toddler coming in. Are we back? We're back. So I'm going to take all these variables and I'm going to cut this from the same project. Of course, everything isn't going to work until we straighten everything out. At formulas, paste it all here. Now, a lot of things that you put into app on start, like a set function, you can't put in app formulas because that is an imperative function. And then over here in app formulas, this is all declarative. So how do you deal with this? Well, I'm going to take out these comments here and let's just look at one. See if I can comment everything else out. Okay, so here's one. And what I'm going to do is I want to say FX developer email because I'm not going to use var. And I don't care if I'm the original or not original. I'm a developer and boom, there's my email address. Okay, so I'm going to cut that, say equal sign, paste, semicolon. Now I don't need that anymore. Now we also have an email address up here. So what I would suggest, I'm going to drag this up there, is that we don't need error handler email. And we just use this. Okay. And the only place that is used is the app on air. So I'm going to do a search for it. Um, it's right there. So I'm going to paste that there. And we got some issues, of course, because we have a lot of code that we're being over from the app on start. That's what's going on. So I'm going to go back over to app formulas. And whenever you replace one of these globals with something else, I'll do a system-wide search for that. And we see that we are, yeah, let's just cut that, put right there. Also, I'll do a global search and replace for that guy, replace it with this one. We got 5 replacements. Okay. Yeah, see, Chris on. Most of my Power Apps projects have been ticketing systems for different departments within the same organization. Very interesting. Yeah, you could use this for all kinds of things. Okay, so we've replaced that guy, so we don't need that anymore. And we've got var debug values by default. Now, if you're going to try to stay away from using app on start, you really do need a loading screen, which we do have. That's good. And we got issues with globals, which is to be expected. So what I'll do here GDL equals false. All right, so there's two places. Replace all two. Done. And we could do GBL demo mode. Set that to false. Do a search and replace on this guy. Oh. Whenever you create things over here in app formulas, um, until I hear otherwise, either from those of the industry or Microsoft, I think FX is probably the best thing to use for things that you declare in app formulas. So instead of this GBL stuff, it really should be FX if we define it here. FX. And we'll replace those two. Same thing for this demo mode. Mm-hmm. I'll put these one-liners up here with each other. Okay, we got demo mode has been replaced. Favor hidden bar. What I'd like to do is over here in the Jumpstart Kit 1.5, exit out of that guy, I don't need that. In the app formulas, you see this, I have FX app globals. So this is the same idea that I had. We go down here. You see this var app globals, where I've got the app name, the theme key, the app version, and all that. I am going to I'm going to copy that. Because a lot of these things, all these variables that we're replacing are set up in here. Let's just take all that out. Okay, there's the application string key. What do we have down here? Yeah, track a ticket. Instead of a purple theme, we'll go with this guy right here. Okay, we got an FX developer emails. Yeah, we just added an S on it. Yeah, if you have other developers working on this, put all their email addresses in there separated by semicolons. I'll put an S in there. That's no problem. Hmm. I wonder if I can say match whole word. There we go. Replace all 5. Sure. Okay. Go back into formulas. Yeah, we have developer emails now. And then down here, that's going to work fine. We have FX hide nav bar. Well, now we don't need this application name because the application name is right there. And the URL, I thought we had that defined in here. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to cut that out. Application link. Application URL. There we go. And what I'm going to say for this is studio, because that will be for a developer. If a user clicked on that link, then um, they wouldn't be able to get in anyway. But I think for now, I'm just going to say make.powerapps.com. Okay. Oh, you see this FX application URL. That's probably why I had it separate. Okay. Because I can't reference things here. See, this is set up as a record. I can't reference other values that I already have in here. So copy that, paste that there. And because these are so tightly coupled or associated with each other, I'll declare them all together. So we should have an FX hide nav bar. And let's set that to true. Okay. Okay, I need a comma at the end of that guy. Okay. And here's the, now if you want to go get the real application URL for this, all you got to do is hit this little This is the fastest way to get there. Now, they did a new and improved little dialogue here. If you click on the three dots here, the ellipsis, I'm going to say use classic sharing. It should bring up a new tab. And what I do here is I hit cancel. There is the link. And that is the link that I would want to use where it's currently at. But how this template is being used is you guys are probably going to take this and um, you might want to customize it, for you. So if you see a link like this, you'll know that you'll need to replace it with something that's specific to your tenant. Okay, do we have any more red squigglies anywhere? Yeah, we get that hide or favor hidden nav bar. Hide nav bar true. So I'm going to get rid of that guy. We don't need that. We don't need the application link anymore. Okay. Now the spinner, var show spinner. This is something if you want to create globals, the place to put those global variables would be in the loading screens on visible. And we don't want to prefix it with var. We want to have, well, I'm going to put that on my clipboard. Do a search and replace. GBL. Look at how many places this is at this var show spinner. 267. Yeah. All right, I'm going to hit replace. That's a lot. It almost scares me. What's a good idea is that you hit Control S or click on that save button just to make sure you got a good restore point. All right, there we go. Good. Back to formulas. Now, I don't even think we need this anymore because we do that here. Yeah. Take that out. Yeah, there's our all globals. Default font name. There we go. It's right there. So I'm going to take that out. We don't need that anymore. However, we probably want to replace any references to app globals with FX app globals. And there are 233. I'm going to click that save button one more time. Replace. Okay. The next variable is demo mode. And we have that set to false. Now, here's demo mode. So let's just get rid of demo mode altogether. Because we have it here in this variable. Okay. So based on the demo mode, we either put up some information that is like just sample data like this. Now, where you'd want to do this at is in your loading screen. If you have some imperative code that you need to have happen all the time, each time the app opens. All right, so I'm going to do a search for var demo mode. Now that should actually be fx app globals.demo mode. And there's only one place. It's this code block we're currently in. So no biggie. It comes in handy if you want to build a portfolio, but you don't want to include any real data in your screenshots or your videos. It's very nice and handy to have that. And then we have this var current user. Hmm. Okay. I'm going to replace that with this GBL. And there's 86 of them. And then if I ever want to get at that, what I could do is go over to app formulas and say fx current user equals that. Hmm. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over to app on start and see what else we can include here. All right. Automatically add this user if needed. So how do we know if it's needed or not? Well, if they're already in there, then we don't need to. So if I go to site contents, there's my users table. I'll go into that. And there we go. Darren Neese. Show or hide columns. Always want to see that primary key, that ID up there. Email, first name is active, last name, notes, phone. I don't want to display the photo base 64, but I will show the length. And of course, all four of these guys. I don't have a department. It's probably not set up in Intra. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll close out of that. So we're still an app on start. So I'm going to take all this code. And I'm going to go over to the loading screen on Visible. So go look in the users table. We match up the email addresses. And if we come back with no records, then we do this. Now this current user data. And we do have this current user up here. Maybe we could merge those two. But I think this does a good job at getting at everything, or at least the basic information. Hmm. Now, what we could do is we could do this step before this one, and then we could go grab it from the table, which I think is what happens right here. Yeah. Contemplating which direction I want to go here. I think that's a good idea. So I'm going to take all this, cut it, and put it right here. And we have it in this global variable. Now they are different types right now. So Power Apps is about to throw a fit. Well, now something like this could very easily be put into app formulas. I would rather it be in app formulas than sitting out here as imperative code in the loading screen. So let's go over to formulas. Yeah. FX user table record. Okay. Current user table record. uh, hmm. You know that this is making me think. It'd probably be a good idea to have that demo user in the database. All right, I'm going to hold off on that for just a second. Mhm. So here we just have the full name, email, and photo. Yeah, let's add her. If it's demo mode, let's see. I'm going to grab all this. For the home screen, I'm going to bring over a button. Paste the code in here. And what I want to do is create a new record with the patch. So we've got Mary T. Smith. Huh. So here I'm just going to say Mary. Smith. Now, you know what would be sort of nice here is we do something, take that out. I'll say Mary.T.Smith. Demo just in case there's a real user with that name. Okay. And then what I want to do here is I want to get at the domain for the tenant. How are we going to do that? What we'll do in the app formulas, see this doaccelerator.com? That's what I'm trying to get at. So if I say FX, tenant domain, we'll say user.email. We'll do a split. So a split takes a string and splits it up into a collection or an array. And I'm going to look for the hat symbol. So it's based on a delimiter. But what we want is the last one that we find, dot value. Okay, so if I copy that and I bring over a little label here, look at that. There we go. So that worked out really well. So when we add her, I'm going to say FX tenant domain. Okay. Now she is actually displayed. She's got her own screen in here. Here's a developer screen. Here we go. There's Mary. This is the name of the image control. Everybody's really quiet today. Maybe everybody is still affected by how much turkey they ate. Okay, so instead of referencing the user's image, I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go there. like that. But I need to say dot image. There we go. Okay. Control A, Shift Tab, Shift Tab. Okay. And let's click that button and see if it showed up properly in the database. Hey, there she is. Okay. Looking good. So the creation of this record, I want to automate it for you guys. So you guys don't have to click a button in order for that to be there, but for right now, I'm going to call this create demo user, and I'm going to give it a width of, let's say 200. I'm going to cut that. I'm going to put it over on the loading screen. Paste it right there. I'm going to say button, create demo user. Now I'm going to set this up so that the only time or place that we'll ever see this button is if we're in the studio. I'm going to go over here to my snippets. And if you go into app formulas, there's all kinds of really good stuff in here. Are we in studio mode? I love this. So I'll grab that. I saw Matthew Devaney talk about that over in LinkedIn. So go over to I need to go into app formulas and add it here. So the only way that we want this to be visible is if we're in studio mode. Now this is the name of the button. And if we go into the screens on visible, I'll just call select that button. And then all the code that deals with creating that record, any demo stuff will be in there. I sort of want to check to make sure that she's not already in there before trying to patch again. Hmm. I need a good way of identifying her in the table. Um, so what I'll do is I'll go into app formulas, and actually, if you look at this, we've got, where's demo? Yeah, demo mode, demo user email. So now, we'll do an if. If is empty. Now you apply is empty for records and tables, and you use is blank on single values. So I'm going to do a lookup on users where the email equals FX app globals. We have demo user email. So I want things to be indented. You know what? Let's just, considering the best way of going about this, let's do a with block because I don't want to have to do more than one lookup for her. So we'll need some curly braces. And we'll call this demo user record. All right, so I should be able to say this right here. If it's empty, and we may not want that demo user in our database, okay? So I'm going to say and fx app globals dot demo mode. Does not like that. Of course, I'm not done yet. Demo user record. What does it have a problem with there? Expecting a table value instead. Ah, okay. So is empty isn't for records. I guess it's only for tables. Okay. I want to say is blank. And I can check title. I can check ID. Well, it's always going to have an ID, right? If it's blank and demo mode has been turned on, then we're going to add her. Okay. let's go back over to on visible here. So we add this user. Yeah, we have a variable here called current user. And we're going to use this global to hold it. Okay. So we call that button right here. Hmm. So I'm going to select the whole patch and indent it over. The patch function does return the reference to the newly updated record. So we'll put that in the current user. Hmm. So what if we're in demo mode? We have that turned on and they are in there. We'll set that up to be that demo user record. And that will take care of that. And this should not be indented. I think we got one too many parentheses. Okay. Um, now what we can do is we can look at that. And I would say not. Okay. So that's going to handle demo users and it's all contained in a button. Isn't that nice? We don't have to worry about it. In programming, we call that abstraction. You want to abstract things so you don't have to think about its complexity. Things are going to be complex already. All right. Okay, I'm gonna cut. Oh, actually, I'm gonna take all this. If we're in demo mode, run that. And the thing is, that button already does us a look at demo mode right there. Hmm. Demo you. Sometimes I like to break things down here and say two part of the if, and I think it's necessary here because this is not the else. This is an else if. And then you could add an else down here if you wanted to, but we have no need for it. Hmm. Let me make sure I set this up right. All right, so we check to see if it's blank or not, which tells us if we need to add them. So we'll say if the demo user was not found. And maybe we should be considering this first. Are we in demo mode? You know what would make me feel a lot better about this logic is if I just checked if, see if we're in demo mode, because we don't want to mess with this if we're not in demo mode. And if we set it up like this, now we don't have to worry about it. Okay. If we're in demo mode, then we'll go down here and then we'll say they were in there. And now we just need to take them and put them in there. Okay, so here I check to see if it's blank. So this could just be an else. Get rid of that. Set that up. I'm going to take this if, paste it there, go select it all. Or then if, then if, then part. Okay. Then what is this guy? This guy is an if. Put a semicolon there. Okay, I feel fairly good about that. There's a lot of effort going into the demo user, huh? All right, go back into on visible. If we're in demo mode, we're going to deal with the demo user. If we're not, probably put this on the clipboard here. Get rid of all that. And you know what I want to do is I want to take all this stuff and put it in a button. That'd be nice. Mighty Spatula, thank you for your videos. I have used your demos to fix my own Power Apps issues. Yeah, cool. Yeah, thanks for letting me know. Okay, so I'm going to make this, just seems to be a little bit too wide. I'm going to copy paste that. And we're going to say, create current user. And we'll go over to unvisible and take that. You see how that simplifies things? I might have needed that, but let's put it in here. Now this, we should really do a width on this like we did before, the demo user. All this user record, we'll do a lookup there. We'll just reference that. And sometimes people like to format something like this. Like this. What do you guys think? All right, so here, do one of these things, use the tab. At the bottom, we need to end the width block. So over here, what we did is we checked to see if something was blank. And that's what we'll do here. That should give us what we're looking for. So we got GBL current user, we patch them. See what happens with globals. Sometimes if you don't catch them all like this far, well, that would be a bug. That might take you some time to track down. So here we don't need to look them up again because we did it up here. That's why we did the width block. Okay. No syntax errors. Yeah, thank you, Mighty Spatula, for the super light. I appreciate that. Okay, we got all right. So the name of this button here is this guy. And we'll go into the on visible. This makes things so much simpler. Select, unless Microsoft changes the select function, so you can't do this anymore. But this is going to be an else. Okay, and we probably need to set this thing to be false at the end. Here we go. Now, do we have anything here that, nope. It's looking good. All right, so we do all this, and notice we put in global current user, global current user, global current user. Yeah. We'll go to the app formulas. The current user is GBL current user. There we go. Right. Oh, look at this. App on Air's got some issues. Oh, the application name? Yeah, okay. So FX Global's application name. Now, what other errors do we have? Hmm. FX App Globals dot there. We have the application name FX app name. Here we go. Okay. Very good. Now let's go look at our app on start. Let's see what else we have over here. Okay, so these are all of our themes. This one's going to be really easy. Ooh, well, that starts there. What about all these other guys? All right, I'm going to cut that and put it in app formulas. And let's see about these guys. Mm-hmm. Is tester. So you see we've got all these things right here. Developer emails, admin emails, tester emails. Okay. So what I want to do is say FX user roles. That should be called that is really a constant if we're defining it here. So no, we don't need that. Is app developer. FX is app developer equals that. Oh, I need a semicolon there. Is app developer. Okay. All right. I'm going to make this more flexible here. Yeah, I should probably do a concat. Concat 8. There we go. And then we'll say if they're a developer, then we want to say Now, do we have something down here? Let's see how I did this in my Jumpstart kit. We'll do a search for is developer. Okay, what about menu? Yeah, won't mess with that. Okay, so I'll put that here. Find out if they're a developer. Don't need that. But we do need to do something similar for admins, application admins, and debug users. So we'll call this fx is app admin. And how find works, if it doesn't find it, it returns a blank. So that's where we're checking for the is blank. Yeah. All right. So here we're going to say if fx is app admin, say app admin with a semicolon at the end. Okay, now we got a tester. Cut that. I think I'll just call it tester. If fx is tester, okay. A reviewer. Okay. Yeah, we could keep that in. That's right, because in this app, the ticketing system, you could have somebody that needs to be a reviewer. Somebody says, "Oh, my laptop doesn't work anymore. I want a brand new laptop," and blah blah blah. Well, somebody needs to approve that, right? Or review it. So I'm going to take that out. Question is, do we have reviewer emails here? It's going to be very easy to add. And you see that the developer gets to be part of every group. FX is app reviewer. Copy that, put that guy there. Okay. See how we're cleaning things up? I get excited when I get to delete code. We refactor it and we make it better. Show debugging. Yeah, I don't think I want that in there at all. I think we've replaced that in other places. All right, guys, this is starting to look nice. I think we can take that out. We don't need that anymore. Okay. I sort of wanted to finish up the app on start, and here's all the themes. That does take up quite a bit of the app on start. Okay, so I'm going to cut that. Yeah, formulas, and I'll put this at the very bottom. So we'll call this FX themes. And FX themes. Now I don't like to use the table function anymore. When I had I had a run in, I had an issue with table. I tried to use a collection function on a table, that something that I created with table, and then it says no, that's not a collection. So I'm like, whoa. Um, there we go. I'm already indented over a little too much, so I'm gonna do one of those. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with all these themes and what they do here, let me give you a little bit of a demo here. So uh, this Jumpstart kit, which sort of laid the foundation for the ticketing system, has a dynamic theming system. So you could change the theme. And it's more evident if you go over to the dev screen down here. You could click on them. Power Apps purple. So it's the definition for all these guys. So if you're wondering why that's there, that's the purpose of that. All right, I'm going to go back over to app on start. And what I'm going to do, oh, interesting. Okay. I'm just gonna Control A, Control X, and cut everything out of there. And I'm gonna leave you guys with try not to use app unstart if you can. App formulas. And we'll scroll down here. Paste it right there. Now we don't have to mess with the spinner. So I'm going to take that out. And we have a clear collect on this. The app errors. Okay, so this needs to go over to our loading screen on its on visible. So it's going to initialize that collection. Okay. All right, so check this out. We've got a theme, FX theme. So we'll go to look up on that collection. Oh, FX themes. Yeah, that will give us our theme. All right, global menu settings. I think I'd like to have that. I'm going to cut that up into our app globals, which is right here. So we could put it there. I'm curious what I did with my 1.5. Did I do anything special for that? Ah, okay. Yeah, that's fine. We could do that. Ooh. Oh, that's interesting what I did there. Show debugging. Do I have anything over here for show debugging? But I have it set up for the whole word though. Yeah, I need a global for that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to capture these 4 things, copy them over because a lot of thought went into it. I'm going to paste them right there. Mm-hmm. Now I'm hoping I don't have to have this as a user-defined function. If I set it up like that, you see here we've got Yeah, this thing needs to be created over in the loading screen. All right, so we need to do a set. On that, and we need to look at fx app globals dot that default show debugging to start us off with that default. And then we need to find what value is being used everywhere else. Yeah. Okay. Is tester. This should be fx is tester. And then you only on select, do that. All right, so let's do a global search and replace. 408. I'm going to do a manual restore point before I do that. That's scary. 408. Yeah, that's a big update. I'm going to hit save. Now things are, they seem like they're really messed up now, don't they? All right. And something else I want to take care of while we're here is we've got another variable. Let's go over to this screen. Copy that. And we'll do a replace here. 26. Huh. See this little arrow? The arrow doesn't do anything. All right. Go back into app formulas, make sure that all of our errors are taken care of. Any one-liners I'll put up here. And because this has to do with this, I'm going to leave these things together. Yeah. All right, so we've got we do have a GBL temp theme that is actually used here on the home screen. No, it is copy controls from here. Okay. Global temp theme. So I'll probably initialize that. In the loading screen. So I'll set that up. Hmm. Maybe that should remain. It's interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is an interesting feature I put in. So if somebody wants to reset the menu, I want to copy that. And I'm not sure if I want to put it on home. For now, I will, but I'll be. Oop, nope. Okay, this is what's great about this new feature called copy code. Right click, paste code. Okay, that's weird. All right. Yeah, initializing a temp theme isn't something we want to do for now. Let's take that out. Clear collect on the errors. Okay, let's go back to at formulas. Key equals. Well, that's got a really bit. That's got a problem with that. Now the themes are defined down here. Hmm. So instead of title, that should be key. So what I'm going to do is a search and replace. Do something like that. And I want to hit save before I hit replace all. There we go. Oh, look at that. We don't have it. Okay, now we have errors. All right. That's going to work fine now. There's menu settings, session timestamp. Now, how did I handle that over here? And I initialized it in the loading. Okay. So over here in the loading on visible, what I'm going to do, there we go. So that variable, there's nothing to it. I mean, if there is something to it, there's more than one character, we're going to use that. Otherwise, we'll construct one right there. Okay, very nice. Okay, so here is our menu settings again. Now we don't need that anymore. Okay. Now we got this FX theme. Now we have an FX theme up here. Which one is better? I would say this one, because it allows for actually the changing of it dynamically during runtime. All right, so these are all the menu items. So over here in this app, you see this nav menu items. I'm going to go over to app formulas here and see what I did here. And it all looks good. Essentially what I do is just transfer the collection over to take all this out. All right, so I'll say FX menu items. And we'll say equals. And then when we get to the bottom, square bracket, semicolon. We don't need a session text anymore. Drop down list names. All right. So instead of that, let's say FX equals open square bracket, close square bracket, semicolon. Then I'll do a global search and replace. Replace 19. All right. Now, what I do for every screen is I patch the screen use whenever the screen loads up. And I want to cut that out because we're not going to have any imperative code in our app formulas. And I'm going to go over to the app on start. Notice we don't have any code here, which is good. I'm going to paste it here. And we're going to patch it. Let's see what it's going to complain about. Session string. FX session. Timestamp is what we'll use there. Okay, that all looks good. App formulas. Let's see what else we need to fix here. Edit ticket tabs. Okay, I'm going to copy that on my clipboard and do one of these FX. Place table square brackets. Search and replace. All right. Initialize all app constants. Hmm. Yeah, I don't like how I did that. That's weird. The code has a smell. You ever heard that? Code smell. All right, I'm going to go up to the top. Put these guys up here. And what I think would make more sense is like an FX show levels. And we'll make this a record type. So we got viewable by all. That's going to be a 1. So I'm going to say text. And the value will be 1. Yeah, I don't want to make a table out of it or a collection out of it. So I should be able to say this. Only be 2. The only will be 3. That should give us what we want. All right. We've gotten rid of app on start. We've transitioned everything over to app formulas or the loading screen on start. And well, let's look at this error. What's going on here? We got an image. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to copy that. FX theme dot spinner. That's what it should be. So I'll do a search and replace here. There we go. Oh, there's only one. Okay. Every screen has a spinner, though. And it looks like this image. Why did it do the, you know what? I'll do a global on the VAR theme. There we go. Look at that. 1,184. Yeah. All right. I'm going to wait for it to stop saving. Replace them all. So I feel good that we took care of app on start, app formulas, and I think we're going to have a lot of things that we need to go around and revisit on all the various screens and clean things up and make sure it's referencing the right thing. So we'll end up doing that next. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and we'll see